But just on Starc, when I think about his career, literally came in 2015. Since then, he's hardly played, he hasn't played any T20 franchise cricket, doesn't play Big Bash. Very rarely does he play those bilaterals. He'll play the big tournaments, but that's it. So I actually think he's still learning the art of bowling T20 cricket.
A tall left-arm pacer with a genuine late-in swinger. A smooth high-arm action, consistently clocking in the 140s, and above all, bowls a searing bullseye yorker. Add more spice to it, he's a great athlete on the field too. Come to think of it, Mitchell Starc has every ingredient to make for the perfect pacer's cake. But just as you eat a slice of it, somehow, it just doesn't taste right. This IPL season has seen bowlers being belted for boundaries like never before in cricket. Batters have striked at a rate of over 150 this season, the highest ever recorded in any T20 competition. The addition of an impact player has meant that the runs per wicket average has also soared up to 35 as opposed to a previous high of 28 last year. More so, the highest T20 record score of 263 by RCB has already been broken on more than 5 occasions this season. In the middle of this batter-domineering ascent of the sport, an unexpected victim emerges. Mitchell Starc. Sure, maybe I'm just an armchair critic enjoying the downfall of every Australian cricketer since the 19th of November, but the case of Mitchell Starc is such a huge anomaly in the dynamics of T20 cricket that it intrigues one to look beyond his returns of late. So for the sake of this video, we'll not be considering this year's IPL simply because it's been merciless at all bowlers. Now, if you look at the contemporaries of Mitchell Starc, the list would include the likes of Bumrah, Rabada, Shami, Bolt, Ferguson, Cummins and Archer. The list goes on, but all of them share similar qualities to Starc. They are all three format pacers who can swing the ball, deliver bullseye yorkers at will and consistently clock in the 140s. So then what difference does Starc bring for the hype that he has? Mitchell Starc rose to prominence at the 2015 Home World Cup at Australia, where he emerged as a player of the tournament. The 2014 and 15 IPL seasons would see him carrying RCB's bowling department, delivering 34 wickets at an impressive economy of 7, and test matches would see him record one of the fastest balls at 160.4 km per hour. But somewhere, since 2015 and now, the game underwent another phase of evolution. The focus continually shifted more towards the T20s. Boundaries became shorter, pitches got flattened, and the swing pretty much diminished. You name any dimension of the sport and it was being molded to extract more boundaries to keep the fans entertained. And ironically, the same period also saw somewhat of a renaissance for Test cricket in the form of the World Test Championship that renewed relevance for the only format that offered somewhat of a fairer contest between bat and ball. Starc here aligned with the proponents of retaining international competition and Test cricket as opposed to the wave of franchise-based T20 cricket that was springing up in all the countries. He opted to prioritize full fitness for Tests and World Cups. And it did pay dividends. Starc was again the highest wicket taker at the 2019 World Cup and he was again ranked in the top 5 Test bowlers by ICC. However, upon his return to the IPL after an 8-year break, he found himself pitted against a new breed of batters looking to park every ball in the stands in conditions that just showed no relent to the bowlers. Weird angled bowlers and those with a good cutter or the slower one had suddenly taken the center stage. Maybe the game had evolved much faster than Starc ever could. His once elusive traits were no longer the USP in T20 cricket. But even then, the limited agency of a complete left-arm fast bowler makes for an evergreen demand in any form of cricket. He can bowl the quick yorker like Bumrah, he can deliver a bouncer like Archer, and he too can swing the ball back into the stumps like Trent bowled. So the question persists. How is a bowler of Starc's pedigree not succeeding in T20s? Now here's the thing. Starc has only played 41 T20 games between 2015 and prior to this year's IPL. For someone who is at least an all-format international regular, such low numbers of games is truly a point of concern. This lack of T20 exposure has simply meant that Starc hasn't adapted to the demands of this unforgiving format. the effects of which have shown in the previous T20 World Cup too, where he was the most expensive bowler for Australia and eventually got dropped in the last match. He doesn't bowl the cutters too often. His slower balls are at the mid-120s, a comfortable pace for batters to hit. His smooth action that is often revered becomes the very cause of his own downfall in T20s, since his ball can be read relatively quicker from the hand. Basically, T20 demands more unpredictability from the bowlers, just as how the batters have unusual shots with an intent to hit every ball. Contrary to a usual bowler who'd curb the run flow by bowling good length deliveries, Starc sprays the ball around in full length looking to strike a wicket. If the batter misses out because of his swing, then good. But the batter almost always knows that if it's Starc with the new ball, he'll pitch it full around the middle stump and he'll try nipping it back in. There's hardly any variation in the lengths or speeds, and that is what comes to hurt him in the T20 format. Interestingly enough though, his numbers don't paint a very grim picture. He has a career economy of 7.6 in T20s, and maybe that is why he's expected to deliver impactfully each time. But as you dissect this number and look at his performances in the past couple of years, his shortcomings reveal themselves. The last two T20 World Cups have seen him being smashed at an economy of 9 while only taking 12 wickets in 10 matches, average number by his own standard. His death overs economy has been at an 11.2 and he's only picked up 5 wickets to make up for it. The power plays haven't been the best either. While his economy has been at 7, he's only picked up 3 wickets in 13 overs. Therefore, neither has he taken enough wickets up front, nor does he restrict enough at the back end of the innings. So clearly, something has to change in his methods because the results won't change themselves. It's no longer on his class and form, but rather on his adaptability. So has Starc learned enough through this year's IPL to be Australia's standout at the World Cup again? Well, Mitchell Marsh would surely hope so. So that's it for today's video. If you like the analysis I brought to the table this time, do leave a like, subscribe, and do comment what you felt about the run for this entire IPL season has been. That's Mitchell Starc, by the way. Anyway, I am Krish Ganguly, and I'll see you around in the next video. Thanks a lot.